Hello, my name is DeAndre Jones. This is my week 5 assignment for FTH 202 revolvers. For the first portion of this assignment, I'll be detailing the media parts of the revolver and how to detail the revolver's health and what parts of the revolver can indicate the revolver's health. So to sort of detail and find the revolver's health, some of the key parts to locate: one is always going to be our hammer. Another is going to be our hammer spring. Another is going to be our trigger. Another is going to be our cylinder. And another is going to be our cylinder stop. So one reason our mainspring is because the mainspring is what allows for the double action. So when we see that we pull the trigger, the mainspring is what gives the recoil to the we pull the trigger, we see the mainspring is what gives the recoil to the hammer, the trigger, and the mainspring housing, as well as what allows the cylinder to rotate. So we always want to make sure that we have a good functioning mainspring. It also means we want to have a good engagement between the double action seal on the hammer and the trigger. And it also means we want to ensure that the cylinder stop is engaging the cylinder to ensure that it's retarding the cylinder, because without that, the cylinder will free float. And if the cylinder is free floating inside of the revolver frame, then we will essentially would be no way to lock the firearm. If the firearm cannot lock and the chamber cannot lock, then it will be impossible to the chamber around. And that is one of the essential cycles of operation and firing and operating the firearm. So those are the essentially some of the key components and portions we want to look at when diagnosing a revolver. Now, almost every part is crucial, but those are going to be some main ones. Also, of course, will be our trigger spring, because the trigger spring is what allows the recoiling. It allows the recoiling of the trigger, as well as the hand. Now the hand also, the hand right here also is, of course, is integral, as well as the transfer bar, the the trigger spring, and almost every part is crucial. But the hand allows the engagement with the cylinder, and the trigger spring, as I said before, allows the compression and recoiling of the actual trigger itself. So each part is crucial, but the main thing is that because it is revolver, we want to get the revolution of the cylinder. We want to get that cylinder to lock with the barrel. We want to get the hammer to lock and cock. We want to get the cylinder to revolve. We want to get the hammer to cock, and we want to get the trigger to fire, and we want to get the firing pin to strike the prime. So for part 2 and part 3 of my final module 3 assignment, are pretty in unison. So 10 unique things that I've learned, as well as some of the stuff that I've learned that is unique to the double action revolver platform. I almost one the same because I'm very new to the revolver platform. So some of the learning moments I've had, one is the importance of timing in the revolver. The timing is crucial in almost all firearms, but almost more so in the revolver platform because it doesn't rely on recoil operated or gas operation. So it doesn't rely on the one round firing for the next round of fire. It relies strictly on the mechanics of the firearm. And so if there's a failure in the firearm, it is solely on the firearm mechanics failing. So it's usually going to be due to wear over time or operator malfunction, unless there's ammunition or ammunition failure to fire, or something due to that regard, but it's not like um, a recoil operated firearm or gas operated where it introduces other points of failure. Um, Another learning uh, other aha moment was the cylinder stop moment and how that plays a pivotal part. And like I said, retarding the cylinder and allowing it to stop and actually um, lock with the barrel. Another one is similar to that with the extractor port. This is my first time to revolver, so that was a unique learning moment. Um, Number 4 would be the uh, right here. Now I don't know if this is for tourists, probably platforms, but how the uh, hand, the transfer bar, and the trigger and the cylinder stop are almost all connected into one piece. So they almost all move in unison with all the other parts, with the trigger spring, the hammer, and the mainspring. They almost all move in one part, but they're with these 4 parts all connected together. So, like I said, the timing is everything. So the history of revolvers wasn't built overnight. It was a small evolution of tiny different innovations that led up to what it is that we see today. But if even for me, just looking at it, you might think that it was just one genius idea that might have led to what we see today, these complex level of mechanics. And in reality, it was a bunch of tiny little things that led up to this and uses and combat uses. This probably is one of the most mechanical and unison things that, as far as firearms goes. I mean, until you get to like advanced weapon systems, this, as far as handguns, probably one of a kind. Um, Handguns now are very simplified. Stratified pistols and recoil operated pistols are very simplified. So that was never an aha moment. And in reality, we've actually gone backwards. That, how do I want to say it? That action revolvers were a lot more simpler than the way revolver, but really it's not. Their timing is still required. Like it still required that same level of mechanics. Granted, it doesn't rely on the mainspring to facilitate that double action and whatnot, but it still requires a same level of retardating this cylinder. It still requires the ability to uh, cock the hammer. It still requires the ability to for the transfer bar to not be able to uh, early fire and hit the firing pin. So there's a level of mechanics that comes in with it. Another thing that I've learned about the revolver platform is that they even are like carry specialized carry objects. Before that, I mean, I knew that they were used as like duty weapons, but I didn't know that they were like even made like concealed carry options. I thought people just found ways to conceal them, but like they were actually like dedicated like holsters like for weapons like these. It really took me by surprise, but that they come in like so many actually concealable short barrel lengths. Granted, you only get 6 shots, and it's not your your new standard 15 to 7. So for number 7 is that they haven't found a way to modernize it as much, and I understand why. I believe there is ways to bring it more modern, at least for a more tactical approach with the red dot optic, to get a more modern weapon mounted light on there. I believe it is doable, but I don't think the R&D development is really put into it for other options. I feel like it's probably more of a novelty thought than it is more practical. Another aha moment for me was probably another thing that has surprised me is that there hasn't been a simplified field stripping process. But I guess because of the goes back to the mechanics of the revolver platform, it can't be field strip as easy because, as I said before, it is one of the most mechanically complex handguns that is still in use. So I feel like you probably